Would I want to transfer my own mind into a synthetic body?
Not everyone would like that, you know? No more blood,
Yeah, okay, I can live with that.
no more heart.
I guess okay, yeah, sure.
No more pooping.
Well, fuck no. That's my me time. Hello everyone and welcome to Geek Anime channel. I'm your detective host Igor, and today we are going to deep dive into Alien Earth episode 3. Now this is not a recap, you have seen the episode, you don't need me to tell you what happened. This is a bonus. My purpose is basically to create some content that will add to your experience of watching this TV show. I hope that everything that I was able to notice and all of my conclusions, this is not something that you thought about while you were watching it. I'm pausing at some moments, I'm reading everything that I can, and after that I'm trying to come to some conclusions and maybe some predictions to what's gonna happen in the next episodes. So if this is something that you like, welcome to the channel and hopefully you're gonna enjoy this video. And I actually want to start with the reason you probably clicked on this video, because you know the video is basically what's going on with this girl. She was attacked by T. Ocelus, our eyeball thingy. You know, it's just catcher calling it eyeball thingy, T. Ocelus. I'm not a scientist. Anyway, and we can see that in this episode she's really, you know, like not with us anymore. She's somewhere else, like her mind is traveling somewhere in the atmosphere. She's not with us and she's starting to ask some questions, which in my mind she should have probably asked somewhere before in her life. She's suddenly, you know, curious. Why couldn't we keep our names when they made us? I know it sounds out of there, like completely out of there, you know, like tinfoil hat theories and conspiracies, but maybe this is not already her asking these questions, but somebody who is taking over her mind and is curious about this new world and new place that it's in there right now and how it actually works. So anyway, let me continue further. We have seen in previous episode when T. Ocelus attacked her eyeball thingy, there was a contact, and it was like real contact. There is a good chance that this thing could probably, you know, release some kind of a toxins or anything else, or maybe some kind of a small, I don't know, child or whatever it is, like just with like we have with the xenomorph that can release a smaller version of itself that grows inside a body. Here we see some kind of a contact and there is definitely an effect. Now one can say that it's probably because, you know, she got afraid, she got scared, and this is why she behaves like this. But you know, like, they're still robots, synthetics. Yes, they have a child's mind, but this child's mind completely unafraid when somebody is pointing a gun at them, but is really afraid of monsters. This is a thought, fear. This is not a human animal fear that we have in our DNA. This is something else. This is something that we only have in our mind. And this PTSD that she's having is way more difficult and stronger that a synthetic body should experience after an event like this. Like, for example, if you remember in this moment when they're flying back in this whatever spaceshipy helicopter, like, she's not with everybody, she's just looking in front of her and she's completely somewhere else. Now, I don't think that T. Ocelus is already completely controlling her, but I think the process already started. Some kind of influence already is there inside of her mind. And if you remember, when we have a POV of T. Ocelus, which already puts him in a place with some of the characters. Okay, this is not just, you know, another creature on a spaceship. We are actually seeing through his eyes. He is a freaking character there. Okay, he has, you know, like lines in the script that are saying T. Ocelus looking, we are seeing everybody through his eyes, so he's gonna have a bigger role. And I still think he is the one responsible for the sabotage on, you know, on the ship in episode 1, because later when she's sitting here and looking at the mirror, okay, and once again she's completely out of the place, and she's touching her eye, which, if you remember, is a point of control for T. Ocelus. He needs to replace your eye in order to control your body. We can see that when she's looking in the mirror, we already see like a similar POV from her. This is not exactly like T. Ocelus, but there is some kind of a double, you know, vision here. She's seen twice. This is not like 25 times like the Ocelus is watching, but as I told you, the control is not complete, but it's already there. It's working and it's probably growing. Let me explain. Like in this moment, we once again seen this guy in the costume. We have seen him in episode 1, we have seen him in episode 2. There's like a lot of focus on that guy, on many of those people. Apparently there are several of those guys in this costume that are doing something. And in this episode we are seeing her looking at him. Now, if we're moving forward and we learn that they're basically in the middle of the ocean, this whole facility is in the middle of the ocean, we are getting more information about it, so it's probably not a great place for human beings to build there. Okay, so maybe there are, some kind of dangerous places in the structure. Water, it's not exactly the best thing for you to have around everything, and it creates a lot of pressure on every structure that's gonna be built in the middle of the ocean. So maybe at some places there are some kind of, some damages, and in order to fix those damages, those guys, they wear this costume and they use this material, whatever it is, to cover it up. That's my idea. Now, this is of course obviously completely my speculation, based basically only on my imagination, but it kind of works in my head, so bear with me a little more. Now, think about it. If I'm correct and T. Ocelus was the one to sabotage the ship, right now it's probably looking for something similar because it is captured again. It's once again in captivity. So right now it's looking a way to control somebody else to sabotage this place, to get away from here. And this somebody, this inside man or a woman at this situation is basically, the red-headed girl, and this is a great opportunity for you to do some damage here. There are weak spots here. You can use that. I don't know exactly how, but probably we're gonna see, if I'm correct, of course. Maybe I'm like 100% not correct and it's gonna go in a completely different direction, but I hope actually that I am, not because I just want to be right or something like this. It's just I think it's a very interesting scenario. It's gonna be a very interesting TV show to follow if we have the antagonist, the T. Ocelus, because in my mind, as I told in my previous video, he is way more scarier than a Xenomorph. Xenomorph, at least you're gonna die quickly. This thing is gonna take over your body and that's it. You are its slave forever. Or until the moment you're not needed anymore, which is, I don't know, it sounds like a incredible torture. And if you remember in my previous video, I had 3 suspects. I had Morrow, Tank, and T. Ocelus. Now Morrow, I think even in the previous video we were like, it's not logical. Why would he do that? Why? It's his life's work. He spent his 65 years in order to bring those creatures back to home, to Weyland-Yutani, sorry, and to, yay. It's like, playing a video game and you're like working on a quest for hours, days and days and days, and like 5 minutes before that you're like, okay, let me break my PlayStation. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. So it leaves us either Tang or T. Ocelus. And I thought to myself, why either? Why not both? We are seeing right now that T. Ocelus, if I'm correct, can affect a synthetic. And if he can affect a synthetic, and Tank is actually synthetic, like everybody thinks, which I'm not 100% sure about it, and by the way, it doesn't really interfere with my theory, because whether he's synthetic or he's a human being, T. Ocelus could affect him, could take control of him and make him create a sabotage and corrupt the log files as we discussed in episode 1, and then create this catastrophe that basically resulted in everybody but Morrow dying. So T. Ocelus can escape. So yeah, hope I'm correct. I think it's gonna be a very interesting turn of events. Anyway, we're moving forward. A little bit of an inconsistency. Somebody from my subscribers in Telegram, I have another Russian YouTube channel like where I speak in Russian, and I have a Telegram group where people discuss the TV show. So basically we have like a little bit of inconsistency. According to the Wikipedia, the whole merger between Weyland and Yutani was in 2099. The event of the TV show is 2120, and it's absolutely no way that 65 years ago in 2055, 55? Yeah, 55, there was already a company, Weyland-Yutani, as we have seen in the logo on the spaceship, which is, once again, doesn't make any freaking sense. Anyway, that's just minor inconsistency. Moving forward. So we have some kind of articles that Morrow is browsing through. So we have Boy Cavalier crashed his electric vehicle while taking driving lessons this past weekend. When asked why he was driving himself and didn't rely on the artificial intelligence he's so proud of, the 15-year-old, I mean, yeah, he behaves like a 15-year-old, but the actor is definitely not 15-year-old. Anyway, whatever, that's me nitpicking already. So CEO and founder of multi-billion-dollar corporation Prodigy. I don't think this article, bears any weight other than, like billionaires bad and they do whatever they want with their money, which is, I guess, at least partially true. We have the second option is Boy Genius breathes new life into Android. Wunderkid and CEO of the newly minted Prodigy Corporation, Boy Cavalier showed off his latest exercise in synthetic human beings. Boy Cavalier has indicated that the progress made came as a direct result of throwing himself into his grief after his death of his, and it's interrupted, so he lost somebody. This is why he's like that. My bet, someone from his parents, probably somebody who would read him Peter Pan just like he's reading right now to his kids, and this is his way to deal with the trauma. Once again, just a guess based basically mostly on intuition, nothing more than that. And the last one is Prodigy CEO moves offices to undisclosed location. Once again, secret fucking location, remember this moment. Being the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the world, it would be that Boy Cavalier would have offices in any corner of the world. And there's actually another article, the triumvirate becomes the five. So triumvirate, this is from Rome, obviously, like when there was a trouble. So in Rome, if you had like a really serious bad shit coming, like it's already somebody knocking on your door, you would choose a dictator. Like there it wouldn't be so bad because you would choose one person, Julius Caesar, for example, to fight off all of the enemies, because it's not a really good time to start discussing and see what majority is actually voting for. You need one man for one problem. Now, in some cases, you would choose three leaders. Once again, in history, Julius Caesar was one of those three people, and then he became a dictator. Anyway, it's not a history lesson. But triumvirate, this is something that comes from Rome. So we had three companies, and now we have five. So there is just a story about the threshold, Weyland-Yutani, and Dynamic Corporations. Something missing here for two more organizations. It probably opted for two more organizations. Lynch Corporation, blah, 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 something, joined the triumvirate since its inception and brings its control to South America. Something like probably it was in the, it was already supposed to be there from its inception, but now it's already there finally. And now it's controlled in South America. Now, Prodigy Corporation, which blah, 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 as an upstart startup through the entirety of its something, ceded territory from both North America and Southeast Asia. So probably, like Prodigy is taking part of North America and Southeast Asia. Probably this is what we're seeing. This is the location of the TV show. So South America has been clamoring to unify under the triumvirate, the devastating guerrilla civil left. Guerrilla civil, probably some kind of group organization, but guerrillas is basically, like it's anti-something. This is like an uproar. Whatever it is, left much of the territory, drought and famine, so there was trouble. There were people who were probably fighting against the corporations, and while each wasn't brought into the triumvirate sooner is anyone's guess, but sources close to the triumvirate suggested that until lately the liability outweighed probably the profit or something like this, but recent discovery of an abundance of natural palladium, which is obviously a very expensive material, probably led to Lynch becoming more efficient, more influential, because it's very rich now, and this is why it was called to triumvirate. Now, I don't know if this information is going to be useful for us in understanding the TV show, but this is something like we're putting this in a shelf and we're keeping it there. If in one of the episodes it's gonna prove itself relevant, we're gonna use it. If not, we just learn something more about this world, and this is why we're here. So thwarted each time, I don't know what was thwarted each time, maybe some kind of a rebellion or something like this. Sources say that primary something blocks was Weyland-Yutani. Weyland-Yutani was the primary source probably blocking Prodigy to enter into triumvirate, whose territories in North and Asia something like could feel threatened by the nearby Prodigy. So Southeast Asia, North Asia controlled by Weyland-Yutani, Southeast Asia controlled by Prodigy, which means like just in our world, two countries that are not really sympathetic to each other. If they share a border, it will create tension. Other sources indicate that the rapid rise of Prodigy, something the company was created and continues to be run by Boy Cavalier, made the triumvirate balk at the idea of Prodigy's influence. Maybe I see only IN, so probably once again, maybe because he's just 15 and they're like really afraid of his unpredictability. This is why they just, you know, like, we don't want this boy next to us. Whatever the reasons are, all speculations is now rendered, if not moot. Spokesperson for both Lynch and Prodigy profuse excitement about the union. The spokesman, something blah blah blah, now the Five, has also expressed enthusiasm about, and you know, the rest of it is basically the usual corporate bullshit. We're excited to create better worlds, blah blah blah. Anyway, I don't know if this information is going to be super valuable for us, but we noted this and we're moving forward. And if you remember, we have already seen all of the 5 corporations in episode 1. In the first minutes of it, there are the 4 corporations. I think this is Wayland Yutani, this is the other 3, Lynch, Dynamic and something else, and in this chair we're gonna have Prodigy at some point. And let's get back to the creatures once again, and Morrow, which is in my opinion still the most interesting character of this TV show, like by far. And he's saying basically that the creatures are his life work. So what do we know about the creatures? They're saying they brought 5 different species. Okay, so we have the xenomorph. Obviously they're probably counting xenomorph and ovomorph and every variation of xenomorph, whether it's the egg or, you know, the face hugger, whatever you want to call it, it's probably still one species. Okay, we agree on that. Now we have the T. ocelos. Okay, also this is the second one. Now those small worms, is it a different species or they are connected to some species that we have already seen? Let's put it as number 3 right now, those small worms that we find in the digestive system of one of the victims. We are seeing one of those worms like being held right now. This is obviously not the blood-sucking bug, they are bigger than this one. And we have the Diplombicarel. Oh my god. So let's read about this one. We got some information about this one in the new episode. A carnivorous plant not dissimilar to the Terran genus Drosera. We have a plant that is basically carnivorous on our planet, and science officer, which is Regabi obviously, has given tentative taxonomic classification of Diplombicarel due to the use of mucilage to lure unsuspected prey. The prey is very stupid because we have seen this mucilage and this looks completely repulsive. Anyway, a stamen to sense prey, we have seen how it's tried to sense whether one of the synthetics is actually a prey or not, and it probably came to conclusion that it's not because it's not a living, breathing, animal, and a pattern of leaves which form a mouth. Now, okay, let's keep reading because it gets interesting. Animals given to Diplombicarel have expired in one of 3 ways: asphyxiation, dissolve, or exhaustion. And I don't remember any of the victims being dissolved or, exhausted or asphyxiated. Maybe once again Regabi, we have seen her with blue lips and, basically losing all of the air. Still, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure. What do you think about it? I would love to read it in your comments. Enzymatic breakdown begins upon disease. Stamen also acts as a gauge of atmospheric pressure and temperature, which I don't know why it's relevant. Maybe it will be at some point. When conditions become inhospitable or a threat to survival, Diplombicarel closes completely. When attempting to open a closed many kilograms of pressure, think about this, many kilograms of pressure were applied to no avail. Once back on Earth, further testing needed to confirm strength of lift. So what it says basically is that even in this freaking ship, with a lot of its resources, with big ass laboratory, they weren't able to produce enough pressure to make those leaves open up. So think of the implications for the military industry complex. You can create a body armor, a tank armor, anything armor that is incredibly light because it's flexible, but at certain situations with some kind of a trigger, it becomes indestructible. This is something that can make you way more stronger than your competition. And if Prodigy is gonna create this kind of weapon, probably there's not gonna be a triumvirate anymore, not 5 Vimerat, it's gonna be 1 Vimerat. Prodigy, that's it. Okay, so once again, Morrow sabotaging the ship, no sense at all, because giving this kind of a weapon to your competitor, is insane, is suicidal actually. Anyway, we're moving forward, and we have the fifth one is the blood bugs. Okay, so if you remember, we talked about this in a previous video. So they basically, you know, suck a lot of blood, and they become, you know, like a small turkey which is stuffed before Thanksgiving, and they barely move. So yeah, you die at this point, like you can't do anything else. But we can see that when they're being put in this kind of a like I don't know, protective glass or whatever on the ceiling, they form something that they can hold on to from the web, and then they release the blood on the ground. So it makes me think, since we are in alien universe and there's a lot of transformations and the next step of evolution, and the next step of evolution, probably, you know, sucking blood is actually allows you to create something else. You know, maybe it's gonna create a place once again for the next transformation, because we weren't told there are 5 species, but we have seen already, you know, like the ones with the wings, how they come in this picture, who they are connected. They are supposed to be part of those species that we talked about. Or, you know, the small bugs in the that we are seeing in the digestive system, maybe they are somehow connected to those blood bugs. I don't know, but I'm curious. And this moment is very weird for me. Like we can see here that he's carrying something really weird. Now it looks like it's a place for the blood bugs, right? Even it has the similar, you know, like blood on the bottom of it. But what the fuck is this? This looks weird. I don't know what it is. Like, if you have any idea, I know it's blurry, but if you have any ideas, let me know, please. So another interesting thing, like if you remember in previous videos, episodes, I don't remember if I actually talked about this in English or only in Russian, I was curious about all those masks behind him. Actually, the guy in the middle here looks familiar. I kind of feel like I have seen him somewhere in a movie or a TV show. So he's probably creating new synthetics here. It's not going to be over only with the Lost Boys. He's going to bring more children. And this is why she's saying is this is where you made us. And he's saying, yeah. So he's probably creating more. And just to add something, as I told you already, and I want to finish with this, Morrow is the most interesting character. And we also learned that he had a child, he had a little girl. Now, since it's been 65 years, and she probably was, I don't know, 10 years old, 8 years old, there is a good chance she's still alive. So, otherwise, what's even the point to bring that up, to add this into the script? Maybe, you know, like he has nothing else to lose and that's it, or something like this. Anyway, like compared to the other characters, like we have a character here who was a security officer, and he was and he did something with his body, so he's still a human, but he's a cyborg. His whole job is basically, and his life goal is to bring those creatures to Weyland-Yutani. He left his kid, small child, on Earth and left her forever, basically. I need to know what this guy's motivation are as a character, as a layered character. Like when you like an interesting character is someone like Onion. Yeah, like layer by layer, you peel and you learn something new every time. I feel like he's the only one who actually works with this definition. Like everybody else is pretty much one-dimensional for me right now. Okay, there were a lot of different nitpicks for me in episode 3. I'm not gonna bother you with all of them. I think my suspension of disbelief works very good. Okay, as I think I maybe say this once, I always imagine my suspension of disbelief as like a straight line. You know, like in the movies when there's a line for the heart. And if you watch a movie, even if you watch Godfather or Citizen Kane, at some point your suspension of disbelief is gonna be triggered. And the straight line is gonna have this, you know, this movement. But, okay, if it's most of the time straight, if you have like every 10-20 minutes this kind of a small movement, when your suspension of disbelief is a little bit triggered, you're probably not even gonna notice that. But if it's triggered many times in the row, at some point the line is gonna get out of the safety zone and it's gonna move to the zone of fuck this movie, everything about this makes me, you know, being pissed off. And then you're gonna be watching it through a negative lens and you're gonna find everything that it's not working. Everything suddenly is not gonna be logical anymore, everything is gonna bug you. So some of the moments, like, you know, suddenly Boy Cavalier is basically telling why you're not following Wendy? Because maybe you have her POV and you know exactly where she is, and if she's in danger, you're supposed to know that and tell everybody her location. Don't tell me you don't have any GPS inside of her body, so you can track this multi-billion-dollar body. No way. You just put their cameras, no GPS. And he's basically, no, you should follow her now, we don't know where she is. Try turning on the cameras. Anyway, like this moment, super secret location in the middle of the ocean, no one's supposed to know. And we're actually taking Hermit there to take his lung and use it as a body to create a new freaking xenomorph. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna take all of his friends with us. Yeah, come with us to the secret location because the plot needs you to. That's it. That's the only explanation. In future episodes, we're gonna see them fighting on the side of the good guys and helping them against the bad guys. That's it. Since Prodigy is probably the bad guys, I don't think it's a stretch to say this. It's very stupid from Prodigy to bring those people with them. They can say, yeah, he's our friend, he's injured. Whatever, we're Prodigy, we don't really give a shit about what you want. It doesn't feel like a very democratic society with a lot of human rights, and especially them military working, and the order for you is to fucking stay. Because then you bring people that can help somebody that you're planning to abuse right now. This is just stupid and I hate those kind of things, and this is why I try to focus on just on information, because overall I still enjoy the show, but in my opinion episode 3 was way weaker than episode 1 and 2. A lot of things were just for me like, oh my god. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video even when I was a little bit negative towards the end. I'm not doing reviews, I'm trying to give you bonus. I want to give something to people that really enjoy this TV show. I do enjoy this TV show even when I don't enjoy it, okay? And you watch it for 15 minutes and then you want some more. And most of the times when you go to reviews, this is gonna be like, and then he went there and she went there and then she went there and he went there, and you basically I just fucking watch the episode. Like why do I need somebody else to tell me what I have seen already? So I'm trying to do something else. I'm trying to give you something that like probably most of the people that watching this video are not gonna pause every time there is a text and start looking at it and start analyzing everything that those new creatures are doing and trying to, you know, put them in some kind of explanation, scientifical, if you want to call it that way. So if you're enjoying this kind of thing, whatever you want to do is fine with me. I always say that I make those videos for you to enjoy them. Everything else that you want to do, like if you enjoy them, that's already a win for me. Now if you want to let me know you enjoyed them or didn't enjoy them, if you want to like, you want to subscribe, you want to support me on Patreon or maybe on YouTube here, those amazing people that you see right now on the screen, they're basically what give me motivation and obligation, sort of responsibility to be better and try to be better every time that I'm putting camera in front of myself. Those are the people that if you enjoy this video, you can thank them too, because they are my primary source of motivation. But saying that, it's still everything is a bonus. Everything else on top of it. Like if I have 100,000 views and not even one of them writes anything, not even one like, but they still everybody enjoy them, I'm still a very happy potato. That's it. But if you want to add some extra bonuses, whatever that is, whatever feels natural and comes from the heart, of course, more than welcome. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna see you on the next one. Meanwhile, bye!